We'll move on to the our preview. The some big games coming up for Week 5 of college football, and a game that we could talk about first is number 9 Oklahoma State going against number 16 Baylor. Baylor, a team that Coach Dave Aranda has his guys ready. They dropped a game against BYU a few weeks ago, but BYU is a good team, and Baylor's always a team that can recover, and Dave Aranda always getting his guys right. Oklahoma State, another team playing well. So yeah, like I said, number 9 versus 16, big matchup for the Big 12, a wide open Big 12 at that. So yeah, this will be an interesting one. Both teams are can easily win this game. Not a very large spread here. Baylor is only favored by 2.5 points at home, which tells you that on a neutral site, these guys, it'll probably be like a pick'em game. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, just an interesting matchup. And both teams, come in here, and while all these other things are going on, right? We didn't even touch on kind of this hurricane that might affect a lot of football this week, and
Yeah, that's definitely going to affect a lot of things.
it might affect a lot of games. But this game is one that I don't think should be affected by that at all. And this is a game that we'll definitely be able to watch. And you can never go wrong when you see two top 20 teams go up against each other. And for them to be in the same, conference is always fun. So a fun matchup for the Big 12. We'll move on to another game. No ranked teams here, but Kansas is a team that has been making noise. We talked about them earlier. 4-0, already beating their over/under total. They're at home against an Iowa State team. Iowa State just went against Baylor and lost in a close one, but Kansas is a team I've seen people talking about. Oh, the voters. What are they scared of? They need to put Kansas and rank them. What are they, cowards? That kind of narrative happening. A lot of people talk about how Kansas deserves to be ranked after what they've done so far. So this is another Big 12 game. And this is a fun one. Another one, like we said, shouldn't be affected by this hurricane. One that we'll be able to see, and not ranked, but definitely two good teams. Kind of really right outside that top 25. Either one of them gets another win or two that you could easily see them being ranked.
Yeah, I think Kansas is at home too, right?
Yeah, so Kansas is at home at this one.
That's a huge effect. I mean, they're starting to have more people involved in these games. So I think with that, I mean, Iowa State had a great game last week, but I think Kansas, again, just that momentum of having a winning streak just changes the whole spectrum of things, and then playing at home at that just kind of puts you over the top. So I personally would have Kansas in it.
Yeah, for sure. And Kansas, by the way, plus 3.5 here. So they're not favored at home. So something to think about. If you lay some money on, you get 3.5 points for Kansas there. Another game we'll get into, a top 20 matchup. This is number 2 Alabama going to number 20 Arkansas. So Alabama comes in. They just throttled Vanderbilt. Arkansas coming off that loss in a close game to Texas A&M. I mean, this one is a fun one. I mean, this one, I thought Arkansas might have. I thought Arkansas was going to beat A&M last week. I thought it was going to set up for a huge matchup with Alabama this week. Arkansas was ranked number 10 before. They fall 10 spots after the loss. But this one, I would have anticipated it being a top 10 matchup. Obviously, that's not it. But still, you can't sleep on Arkansas. The point spread is crazy. I think I was seeing it at plus 17 for Arkansas. I can see Bama running away with this, right? But you could also see this being a close one.
You could also see it being a game kind of like how Texas was.
Exactly.
Texas really tested Alabama. I think that since then, they've obviously haven't really had a test. we talked about it a few weeks ago, where Alabama always has these games that they're being tested, especially with the SEC, and they haven't really had that SEC opponent to really test them. I mean, you have Vanderbilt, yes, last week, but it's like, what is really Vanderbilt compared to Alabama? So again, I think Arkansas, just like you said, they could either keep it close, or they could try to, we'll see what happens. But I don't think Arkansas is a team that you can count out, especially with the way that they run the ball. If you have a great run game, that's kind of the counter to keeping Bryce Young and that offense off of the field.
And what will be interesting in this one, it's a bit of a rock and meaning a hard place here, where Alabama has the number 2 rushing defense in the country, and Arkansas is one of the top rushing offenses in the country. So something's got to give here, and we'll see how that turns out. But definitely an exciting game this week.